Fahim Anwar's House Money stand-up comedy special. Fahim Anwar is a very funny comic. I first learned about Fahim through, I believe, Brian Redban. I always remember him referencing Fahim Anwar, mentioning him in passing. I just don't remember if it was the old Death Squad podcast or just like early episodes of Rogan. But either way, I've always enjoyed him and his personality when I've heard him on Rogan, which he's been on a bunch of times, and other pods as well, like You Might Be Drunk. I'm sure Ari's podcast, the old podcast, Skeptic Tank. He has since, by the way, for fellow Ari Shafir fans out there, finally started putting out the You Be Trippin' episodes, his new pod, which is, interestingly, under the YMH Studios umbrella, which is Tom Segura and Christina P's company under the Sirius/Stitcher deal that they did over there, which were also, by the way, featured in the Goats Doing Goat Shit segment of the Spun Today Pod. Again, check that playlist out on YouTube if you're interested. But yeah, I've always enjoyed Fahim's take on things. He was funny, interesting dude that was an engineer for Boeing by trade and decided to leave that behind. That stable, well-paying, any parents from any walk of life would be proud of career behind, and decided to be a stand-up comic instead, which incidentally worked out for fans of Fahim, such as myself, because we get to enjoy his content, but could have really went left. Yeah, I checked out his older special, which is also available for free on YouTube, as is this one. His older special is called Hat Trick, which he filmed at the Comedy Store, the world famous Comedy Store, where, if I remember correctly, it's called Hat Trick because he edited together sets that he performed in all three of the Comedy Store rooms, the Belly Room, the OR, and I forget what the other one is. The OR is the original room, the Belly Room, whatever. And there's another room at the Comedy Store. And he filmed in all three rooms, edited it together, and made that his Hat Trick special. 3 rooms, hence the term hat trick. And then this special, which is his latest, he put out 2 different versions of a tighter full version and then an extended cut version about 2 to 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago on one, 3 weeks ago on the other, and already has close to 150,000 views. Shout out to Fahim Anwar and his House Money comedy special. A couple of really funny bits that I wanted to highlight was him speaking about relationships, and he says that being in a relationship for most folks is the reason to be in the relationship, or a reason to be in a relationship, is so that you have someone to tell things to that are not interesting enough to tell anyone else and slightly more interesting than to keep it to yourself. I thought that was a pretty funny distinction there. Also playing on the whole relationship theme, he says how as men, we can't cry and express our emotions when we feel we want to. We can't come when we want to, until at least the woman does. And our whole lives are all about just suppressing liquids. So that was pretty funny. He does a bit about different TV high school drama shows. The bit where he speaks about the Cobra Kai kids and the Euphoria kids, and how funny it would be if one of the Cobra Kai kids transferred to the Euphoria high school and he just walks into a party where they're doing drugs and having an orgy or some shit. And one of the Cobra Kai kids is like, "Hey guys, where do you do karate around here?" By the way, a Cobra Kai fan, I've done episodes and segments of previous seasons of Cobra Kai. Euphoria, I've heard is dope, but I haven't seen it. But I know, it's definitely a darker high school experience and drugs and sex, and it's where Zendaya popped off from. But that was just a funny concept. Oh, he does this hilarious bit, which I related to a bit, about flying business class versus first class. And I've never flown first class, but I have flown business class a few times. And I have actually spoken about it here on the pod in the past. If you guys want to check out the India episodes, I think there's at least three, maybe even 4 or 5 episodes where I broke down my trips, and especially the first one where it was my first experience of flying business class at that point. And I really broke down the nuances of like the differences between coach and business class and just the cool shit that I experienced. So if you're interested, definitely check it out. But he's doing a similar thing within this bit, Fahim Anwar is, and he's comparing business class to first class. And when you find business class, you're like, you go in, even from the airport experience, you go in a different line. It's usually emptier. You go straight through. Security is super seamless. The plane, you can lay down in it. You get these more gourmet-ish type foods and all the snacks you want, and liquor and drinks. And in the bit, he's describing that experience and then saying, how could first class be better than this? What could be better than this? But it's just such a big jump from coach to business. And in the bit, he says how he opens the curtain from business class to first class just to peek in to see what the difference is. And he said everyone's just like naked and fucking with fox masks on. And then he goes back to his business class seat and continues eating his snacks. And I just thought that was hilarious. But it was a dope special. I definitely recommend folks checking it out. It is available on YouTube. I will link to it in the episode notes. And it is, once again, Fahim Anwar's House Money. Check it out.